I'm Brett Call, Kahl is my last name. I founded Link Systems Corporation in 2008. It is a takeoff of what we did back in 2000 with two other engineers and myself who had worked previously with another company that we founded in the building automation field. And what we did is we were working with building automation and home automation with the former company, and we saw the real need for facility management, which included the incentive for renewable energy and going green for buildings. So we work with a platform that we've developed. It's a software platform that goes into buildings that measures and manages energy management along all of the facility processes. So in a nutshell, we are a hardware software platform that is used in building automation to regulate energy use. You know, if you would have asked me that question when I first started in my career, I would have thought it meant finding the right avenues to move up the ladder to get where you need to go or want or desire to go, and to find the right opportunity. What I've learned over the last, it's been about 20 years since I started working in the field of mechanical systems and building automation. But success is, in my definition now, understanding your vision and not giving up and letting go on your vision despite all the obstacles that come in your way. And success is when not that you are necessarily the best at what you do, or let me put it this way, you become the best at what you do, or you've achieved success at what you do, not because you may have had all of the right talents and skills and opportunities, but that you've prevailed and have allowed the little trials and valleys and peaks in your path to allow you to realize what you've been working hard for. And that comes with a vision. Success, you can be successful at doing something good in a skillful way, but as far as being a success at your business, you have to have a vision and have the tenacity to stick to it. One of my biggest inspirations is the way I was raised. I was raised in a very cultural family. My father's family's Arabic background. There was community, there was hard work, but there was a purpose for the bigger picture to always support. So your work has to drive a number of things in my life. It has to support the bigger picture with the family, and that you're a contributing part of society. And I've always looked for things that inspire me. And one of the things that has always inspired me was not only things that are gizmo gadget related. So what we do is a lot of gizmo gadget related stuff with technology, iPhone applications and iPad applications that you can remotely manage and measure and control things. But working for a bigger purpose with energy management, renewable energies, a whole lot of these things, and I have a mechanical background. My degree started with mechanical engineering, so all these things kind of came into focus and said, I have a big picture here, and it drove me to success. And family and friends are a big part of it. They always say, if you have ideas, you should write them down. And put them in some place that you can refer to later. And I've always done that. I always keep a journal of my thoughts. And even though where I'm at right now, I didn't sit and scheme every night and day of how I'm going to get to where I'm at. But if I looked at my notes 10, 15, even 20 years ago, what I'm doing now is exactly what I conceived where I want it to be. It's really amazing how that works. But again, I don't leave that up to chance as much as your will, your desire, and then putting yourself in that path, and then you have to believe in. Some people call it their higher power. Many people call it faith, but I think we all have kind of a path if we follow it. And so, when I realized where I was really, what I was doing, it happened when I was in the first startup company we did back in 2000 with Amazing Controls. I had the opportunity to work with some very creative, inspirational people with technology. And the things that I knew I could conceive with, mechanical systems and measuring and managing energy, and then the possibility of renewable energy sources, I started connecting the dots with all of the other geniuses that I was with. And when you're in among very intelligent people, I had the luxury or the privilege of being able to work in Silicon Valley with a lot of engineers. I began to realize how it could be conceived. So it was a progressive thing. So I would say it was really about 8 years ago when I had the opportunity to design a system and work with our development team, again, surrounded by very intelligent people, much more intelligent than I am. But they trusted my vision, and they trusted my lead. And when you start seeing things work and that the symbiotic relationship works for the bigger purpose, I realized that it was a reality what we did. And we were the very first truly automated platform that integrated a whole facility with integration of controls. You have standalone processes with controls and they can do functions. But when you completely integrate, then you can understand how you begin to realize that you're measuring and managing a lot of data. Once you're in control of all of that data, then the world becomes yours in a nutshell. And I began to realize the potential. And so I realized it. I was probably around in my late 20s when I finally started using my skills as a mechanical engineer. And I started conceiving what I wanted to do. But it was in around 2003 that I began to realize that it could actually be done. I learned a lot when I finally came to Silicon Valley. A gentleman by the name of B.K. Maria with Amazing Controls, or he was the founder, or let me clarify that. He purchased a team from the Netherlands that were technology guys who put together control systems. B.K. Maria had founded Catalyst Semiconductor. And when he brought me in as part of the team of founders with the original Amazing Controls company, I learned skills on how people who have succeeded work with teams. So I took a lot of notes, and in 2008, when I had the opportunity to go with my real vision on my own, a couple of the engineers that had worked with Amazing Controls, we had been a part of the culture of that previous team. And so they realized the vision with me, so they came on board with me. But I used the same skills that B.K. Maria had taught me in developing a team, and that is sharing not only the passion of your vision, but the privilege of your vision. And when I say privilege is, if you're truly a leader in what you're doing, you can't just hold on to it all yourself, because the sum is greater than the parts. So the way I started getting my team together and the way I was able to attract the talent that helped me realize that we could really do this was I shared the potential of success with other engineers, contractors, and others that were in the space, and didn't hold on to it all myself. So I attracted the right talent, and I had to be humble enough to let them know that I needed them as much as they, realized the opportunity that I was put into and the privileged spots that I've had. So to answer your question, I didn't go out and start hiring right away. I started evangelizing, and I evangelized the vision. And so therefore I attracted the talent and the team members that currently work with me today. How much much time do you have? And this will kind of parlay back into the question you previously asked on what success is. You make a lot of mistakes and errors along the way, and it's really good to take note of all of that, because if you don't sit back and reflect on the things you could have done better, history repeats itself. So you will be faced with similar situations, maybe not the same opportunities, because the opportunities, once they're gone, you have to move on. The key is again, not dwelling on past mistakes or missed opportunities. What I did early on was some of the things that we developed, I didn't have enough confidence in taking the next steps when those doors were open. And if I would have, through this journey, what I would have done differently would have been when the different opportunities, for example, when we were given the opportunity by ADT, ADT is a security company that has control systems now within their offering. We were offered that before. I kind of balked and undersold ourselves because I was humble, thinking that maybe we weren't a good enough team or didn't have the technology they really needed. I've learned now that when opportunity presents itself and it is your passion and you're willing to make the sacrifice, then you're just as good as anybody else to get the opportunity. And you can, even if you don't have all the pieces together, you can get those pieces. But if you believe in yourself and your team, you should take those steps. So those are some of the things I would have done differently. There's a lot to mention. I would have used finances differently. I thought I was making financial decisions for building the company certain ways. I invested in real estate when the real estate market was going to head into squalor, and I lost a lot of money thinking that I was going to finance the company that way. So to do a lot of those things differently, I guess surround myself with more and more experience to help me develop the business plan so that I didn't make those mistakes. But I've learned. What makes a great entrepreneur is the ability to manage one, information, and second is to know how to hold on to a lot of it's amazing how all of a sudden it got noisy.
Yeah.
You have to realize that when you're going to start a business, that the business is going to be you 24/7. And how do I illustrate that? You have to put in your work time and not burn out. And at the same time, have your business on your mind. So it's almost like a marriage, and you have to manage that relationship. So a good entrepreneur has the ability to focus on their business, keep it first, know how to prioritize so that things don't interfere with the forward progress of your business. If you're the type of person who just needs to check in and out of a clock and then forget about work and not let it bother you until you go and punch that clock again, you're probably not designed to be an entrepreneur, or you need to learn to be. But a good entrepreneur knows how to keep the business always there, maybe not always in front of them, but always there beside them, so that when opportunities come along or when you need to respond to maybe a change of direction, you're ready to handle that. Because a business is a very serious undertaking, and a person can find themselves in a lot of financial trouble if they don't know how to steer through the waters and manage cash flow too. Well, you're always going to need knowledge for what you do. So the best knowledge you have for whatever field you're in, as as specialized as that can be, that's great. But most likely you're going to work with something that you really didn't get all the education for. So the key that education has in your success is knowing how to be a student, and because you're always learning, and especially when you're running a business, I'm always having to educate myself. Hopefully in the fields that I'm disciplined for, but I have to learn how to study, how to use my mind, and how to learn and grasp the concept, so that as these challenges come to you, when you're given an opportunity to develop, that's what we do. We develop. We have to be ready to respond to the change in technology, in engineering processes. But you've learned how to do that through your education system. Education has taught you how to think, how to be resourceful, how to meditate, and then how to apply. And that's one of the main ingredients of education. Again, your knowledge from education is very important. I mean, you can't become an engineer unless you know. Well, if you're an electrical engineer, if you don't understand electrical theory, then obviously that's an important tool. But in education, you learn how to study, how to work, and how to. What kind of responsibility does it take for a person to step in the field of an entrepreneur? The way I would respond to that, it is a large responsibility. The best success in taking on that responsibility is be patient with the process and just realize that there is a lot of responsibility. And if you get overwhelmed with all of the responsibility, you'll never, most people get tired and they give up. So my suggestion is for people to be in it for the long haul and be patient with the process, and don't try to grow too fast, because there is a lot of responsibilities, and if you take on too much responsibility too fast, you're definitely setting yourself up for burnout and failure. This is one of the very most critical things, I think. I would consider myself kind of a late bloomer. I'm just approaching 50, and I think that I have a technology company that is a success. But the one thing that I have allowed myself to do before that I completely jumped into my field was I got a little bit of experience. And the one thing that knowledge and study can't do for you is it can't give you the grassroots experience than going out and trying to work with something. And you may think that what you want to do is what is really where you're headed, or what you think you want to do is what you want to do. But what gives you vision and gives you purpose is going out, and you don't have to become wealthy overnight. You don't have to have, most people think that by the time you're 21, you should know exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. I think that your 20s especially, or at any age, depending on where you are in your cycle of really manifesting your vision for what you're going to do, is allow yourself time to get experience. Work for other companies, work with other people, because other people have gained years of experience and skills that you can't learn in books. And when you get to be exposed to other people's methods, how to think, how to execute, that's digging up the real hole. Knowledge and wisdom, that is a wonderful thing, but the wisdom really comes from not just having the knowledge, but knowing how to apply it. And you get that from experience.